This is Jeff with the Weekend Wood Shop. Today we're going to be building a miter saw station. This is one of 3 videos. Stick around. So the first thing I do is cut down plywood, and here I am with those sides already built. My depth of my sides is 24 inches and the height is about 36.5 inches, and I'll get to more of that later. But here I'm putting a little groove in case I want to put a back on these for a 1/4 inch plywood. I didn't end up doing that, so this was kind of a waste of time, but I just kind of went through all the steps that I typically do for cabinets. You can see in the background the miter saw stand, miter saw on its stand that I've had for about 15 years, and that's the dimensions I'm following. So that's the height it'll work out to. So once those carcasses are built, and the stretcher's already built too, so I'll cover a little bit of that later, but I like to use pocket hole joinery for cabinets in general, but especially shop cabinets. They just work out great. So I do think it's important to set up whatever jig you're using or whatever tool you're using to do that. But once you do that, and I now use dust collection with this thing, the old one I had, which was the Craig jig, I think I lost the shop vac attachment, or maybe it didn't come with it, but this new jig I have, and I'll leave a link in the description below, has that, and I found it is nice. But once you set that up to all those settings, you can pretty much just, like you see me doing, drink coffee and create those holes. And I went through and went ahead and put pocket holes on all the sides of all the stretchers, the bottoms, and then my shelf is actually dadoed into the 2 sides, so I didn't need to do that with that side, but I did also put pocket holes with those stretchers that are going to be oriented up. So once that top goes on, which I'll cover in the next video, the tops of these shop cabinets, everything will get pocket hole into the top as well. So it'll be super strong, and it goes pretty quick. You can see the jig I have that I made for that little tool, and it goes fast. So it's not that bad, and I find that you usually don't even need glue when you're doing pocket hole joinery. I always add glue just for that extra protection, but you really don't need it. So here I'm adding that line of pocket holes to the tops of the sides, and that's going to allow me to kind of pull down that top really tight once it goes. And those are the stretchers as well for that top side. So the next thing I do, I try to dry fit everything, and I'll do one cabinet at a time, dry fit it just to make sure when you get to that stressful glue up, it's all going to work out. You can see me here, I'm drilling these holes, and I like to just collect dust when I make it. That's pretty much one of the reasons why I'm building a miter saw station, other than the accuracy and being able to do repeatable cuts. I want to be able to use my huge shop vac, my huge dust collector, as well as the shop vac to do that, and I want it permanent. So that's what started this, but here I am collecting all those kind of those big chips coming out. I wanted to talk a little bit about maybe some of the differences with the J. Bates design, and that's what these cabinets are. I chose his design, which I think is great, and it really helped me out during this build. A couple of modifications. Those little blocks I built that you saw me drilling holes in, that is going to be the legs. So the outfeed table I have on the back of my table saw, which you might see in a different shot, is a JohnBuildsIt design. And I used the feet he suggested in that build, and I went ahead and used the same one. So all these do is they fit in there, and they allow really good leveling, and I like the way those work. So the way I did use those feet here is I just put some little blocks into the sides, and you can see me drilling, pre-drilling and drilling holes in there just below where that hole is so they don't get caught up. And I'll go around and put that everywhere. And on the 2 smaller cabinets, which are 24 inches wide, I just have 4 legs. On the 3 cabinets that are 44 inches wide, there's an extra one in the middle. Here I am just measuring about the middle, and I'll pre-drill and drill a couple screws into that as well, just staying away from where the actual hole is, because there's a piece of metal that goes into that hole that accepts the threaded insert, which basically is the feet. And it's important that the depth of these be about right, because I needed to be able to access the feet once this thing's sitting on the ground. So if they were too deep, it wouldn't have allowed me to get my wrench in there to adjust the height. And so when I'm putting these screws in here, I probably should have or could have pre-drilled those holes. I didn't, and I find it was fine. There was one that I think it completely just snapped the head off the screw. And these screws come with the feet, so they are not the best in the world, but they work fine. And it was just one that broke off. So I just pulled it out and threw one of the extra ones I had in there. And here's that middle leg going in that I had on those three larger cabinets. And then once those were in, this is before I put those in, but here I'm just kind of making sure what this is going to look like. It's going to be out from the wall a little bit, and I'll talk a little about how I'm going to support that top. It was about this point that I realized I'd been in the shop pretty much all day, so it was snow on the ground outside, so I thought I'd take a break and try out a snowplow I got for clearing off the driveway. Since this has nothing to do with woodworking, let me know in the comments if this was a interesting little sidebar video, or if you'd rather me stick to what you clicked on this video for. I do that sometimes. I'll watch a video and they'll have a little, maybe a little sidebar story, and I find it kind of interesting. So that's why I thought I'd throw this in there. But if not, let me know and I'll leave this type of content out next time. So after doing that outside, came back into the nice warm heat. And I went ahead and did an initial leveling of those feet, meaning making them all the same to start off. The real leveling will happen once I get those tops on, which will be in the second video. But went ahead and made them all, at least starting on the same spot. And then decided to go ahead and do a little vacuuming before I put those permanently into place. And that was it for today. So here's a quick view of that wall with those cabinets in place, and you can see I already was starting to move ahead with the next step, which will be addressed in video 2. And that's going to be it for this first video. You can click below and watch video number 2 of the miter saw station build. Thanks for watching.